Hi, welcome to CS170. I'll be presenting this class over video. So just a reminder, this week there will be the midterm or second exam on Wednesday. Professor Trees will be putting out a notification on that with practice questions and whatnot. Um, so there won't be class, but I'm going to be recording these lectures, so people will be able to catch up on the content and also leave some time to prepare for the exam. If there's any questions about topics for the exam, you can send me email. I will check periodically, maybe not super quickly, but I'll do my best to respond. Okay? All right, so a couple things. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the advanced spreadsheets for planning. On the right-hand side, I just have like a little worksheet to work off of. So the new spreadsheet assignment that got put out, I'm just going to cover a couple of things there that should be helpful for you to get that sorted out. So one of them is there's going to be a question asking you to basically convert these text months like January, February, and whatnot to a month number so that you can sort the data. And so there's a helpful function in Excel called equals month. And then you put in this case, the cell reference A41, and then it will tell you what that month number is. Okay, so to get your month number, just use the Excel function equals month, open paren, cell reference, and then close. Okay, the text that you're provided for the assignment basically just spells out January. So what you have to do is you can use in the formula just to concatenate 1 and January, let's say. I know I shortened it up with just Jan here. Um, so remember what was the concatenation? You can use either the Excel concatenation function or you can use the ampersand sign to concatenate, similar to how you use the plus sign to concatenate for JavaScript. Okay, so make sure you do that. Otherwise, you might have a problem with your homework assignment. Now, the other thing on the homework assignment is creating name ranges, which I did show for the last class, but I'm going to repeat that. So let's say we have this discount table here for pizza. Okay, so you can see I highlighted it here, and then I do a right mouse click here, and then you can see define a name. So I'm going to define a name. I'm just going to call it pizza discount, like that. And then you can see on the top left-hand side, if I just pull that down, you'll see there's only one named range here, which is pizza discount. Okay. So anytime you want to refer to this range, maybe you're doing a VLOOKUP, then you'll be able to just refer to pizza discount as opposed to saying H9 to I12 in this case. Okay. So that's something else that will be useful for you for the homework assignment. So please note that and use that on your homework assignment when they ask you for that. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and cover the content for this lecture. So we have here conditional formatting. So I've covered or I talked about conditional formatting last week. So let's actually try to do an example of that. Okay. So you can see here, and I set up on the Excel sheet here, we're going to have something where we have a few different cars going at different speeds. And then here's a lower speed limit, like minimum speed. And then here's upper speed limit, maximum speed. And so what we're going to do is look at where these cars are, what speed they're going, and see where they are relative to the speed limits here. Okay. So you have on the home, I'm going to click on the home here, and then you're going to see conditional formatting in here. So let's see if I can scroll this over and let's see if I can find conditional formatting. Okay. Let's see here. Conditional formatting right here. Okay. So let's click on that and we're going to highlight cells according to certain rules. So let's see what we do if we're going to highlight greater than. Okay. So what is the maximum here? Looks like the maximum here is the 65, right? So I'm going to highlight that. And if you're going faster than 65, then I think you want to do that, right? So that defines that. Actually, when I did that, I didn't highlight my cells here. So I actually wanted this here, okay? And then greater, okay? And so let me see here. And conditional formatting, let's manage these rules here. And B4 to B7, okay? And cell value greater than 71, okay? Not sure why I selected 71 here, so let's edit this rule here. And I'm going to click on the upward speed limit here. Okay. So for this range of cars, I'm going to be looking at their speeds relative to the upper speed limit. So let's go back to here. Um, Under conditional formatting, you see where I went to manage rules. Okay, I only set up one rule so far, and you can see what it's doing. It's looking where the cell value is greater than what is in B3. So B3 is 65. That means any of these cars going at a speed faster than 65 would become red. Okay. Now, when I do it like this, where I control this with the cell B3, that means I can change the speed limit later on. Okay. And then you can see where it applies to, right? I didn't apply it across the whole sheet. I applied it from B4 to B7. And notice the dollar signs that are in front of them. Remember when we talked about this last week? These are absolute reference. Okay. Anytime you put a dollar sign in front of it, of a cell reference, it's absolute reference. Okay. So let's close this up. So that was one rule that we just set up. Let's see what happens if I change this to 70 now. So I'm going to change the speed limit to 70. And you can see this automatically cleared up because it's not above 70. I'm going to put this back. And then that made that red because it was over. Okay. So the other thing that we probably want to do is now we want to look at this same set of stuff and see if there's anyone going below the lower speed limit, the minimum speed limit. So I'm going to go here, here, and then highlight where it's less than. Okay. And what do we do less than? We're going to do less than cell B2. Okay. And now it turned it red. That's red. And that's because I didn't set the color. So let's fix this. I'm going to go back to conditional formatting, manage the rules, and you can see it's red. Okay. So let's edit this rule, which is right here. And let's see what color we can make this. I guess maybe let's make this maybe like this blue color here. Oh, that's the text here. So let me change that. Let's make the font back to what it was before, which was black or automatic. And then let's do the fill. I'm going to make the fill, I guess, this light blue color here. Okay. And then we apply it. And you can see right here, when you look at the rules manager, you can see this is going to turn out to be this blue color. Kind of give you a little sample here. And before we close this up, let's just do an apply. And there you go. So now you have that. Okay. And then just to fill this out a little bit, let's try to do what happens if the car is in between the lower and the upper speed limit. So I'm going to go here, conditional formatting, and between. So we're going to say between the lower speed limit and the upper speed limit. And we're going to make it, let's see if we can do some sort of green color here, like that. And there you go. Now we got three different types of conditional formatting. One for going above the speed limit, one going for below the speed limit, and one going for in between. Okay. So remember that's on the home and under conditional formatting. You can click on it. You can define the rules here. You can actually go into the rules manager and play around it from there. You can clear the rules, new rules, whatever. So there's a couple ways to do this. But most people will probably find it easier to use one of these default rules here. Okay. All right. So let's go down the slides here. All right. So they use a little bit different colors than I chose, but you still get the idea. Okay. And these next few slides just kind of go through exactly what I just talked to you about here. All right, now we got the VLOOKUP. Now I did a VLOOKUP for you last week, but I'm going to do another one for you. And I'm going to use this referencing the range that we set up here. So let's do equals VLOOKUP. And actually, I'm going to put number of pizzas here. So let's say we did 5 pizzas. So VLOOKUP, what's the lookup value? It's going to be this value here in E5. Okay, so making it a cell reference, that means I can go ahead and change this value just like I changed the speed limit over here. So I'm going to do a comma. And what's the table array? So let's see. What did I have here? I think I called it pizza something. So let's see. All right. So pizza discount. All right. So when I click on that range or named range, you can see it highlighted this whole range here. So I can see that I'm looking at the right thing. Okay. And then once I do a lookup on here for how many pizzas I have, what I want to return is this column 2 here. So that's what this will be, call index num. So I'm going to put a 2. And then as we discussed last week, I want this to be approximate match. So I'm going to click on that. And then let's close it up. Okay, and then I'm just going to change this to be percentage. And there you go. So let's see what happens if I make this 4 pizzas. And you can see my discount dropped to 0%. And then let me change it to 15 pizzas. And you can see it became 10%. Okay, so it became this value 15 is before 10, in between 10 and 20. It went past the 10, which was the last one at 10%. Once it got to 20, it knew it's above 15, so it knows to say the maximum value was 10, and it will take that. And that's what you get by using approximate match. Okay. So that's an example of VLOOKUP, but also using the named range. Again, that's something you're going to be asked to do for your Excel assignment. All right, so now you got tables here, and you can do different things for your analysis on it, right? So don't think I have anything set up for that. So I go over here. So I'm gonna say item, description, cost. Okay. And description and cost. I'm trying to fill in some data here really quickly. So number, let's see. And good. Okay. And I'm not going to make this currency. I'm just leaving as decimals here. Okay. I'm going to try to make this to be a table here. So one thing they do is just select on one cell of it, and then I do insert, and then I'm going to do a table. Okay. And then I'm just telling it that my table has headers, which it does, right? Item, description, and cost. Okay. And you can see there's table styles up here. Okay. Happens to be this style here, but I could do this, I can do that, and it'll change whatever style it is here. But I like to have that. Okay. So similar to how data goes, you can go ahead and select on it, do sorting, filtering, and whatnot. Okay, you're going to be doing something like this for your homework assignment here. The other thing to note is I can do on my table, I can do a totals row at the bottom, right? So you should be able to click on this and you got a totals row here, and I can select any different things here. I can do average, count, and whatnot, but I'm just going to do a sum of all the cost here. Okay, and there you go. So there's your filtering. Okay, and there's your totals row here. This is a table. Okay, so that's how you set up a table. All right, we did the defining of a name before, name range, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, so now we're going to get into analysis here, a little bit of analysis here. So one thing we have here is goal seek. So you can see this final grade is calculated. It's a simple thing, just the average of H20 to H24. But you can see the final exam is blank. Okay, and then you can see I did 58, 70, 72, 60. And right now the final grade 65. So I'm gonna do a what if analysis. Okay, so we go back to data and see what the data is. All right, and then what if analysis. Under what if analysis, we're gonna go with goal seek first. Okay. So what cell are we looking at? We actually want to look at H25. So let's make this H25 like this. And let's see what it's going to take to get our final grade to be a 70. I'm going to make that a 70. And then I'm going to do changing cells. So all of these values are set already. So the only thing I can change right now is my final exam. So let's see what I can do in my final exam so that I can get a final grade of 70. Okay, and you can see what it did here. It just cranked through some numbers. Um, I guess you could almost call it a Monte Carlo simulation. So running that through until it came back with 90. All right. So GoalSeek basically says, okay, I have a value that I'm going to set over here, and the variable within the formula, what value do I have to set it to achieve that value? Okay, so this was an average of all of these, and we wanted to see what type of final score I need to get on my exam so that I can get a final grade of 70. Okay, so that's GoalSeek. All right, so the next thing is we do scenario manager. Okay, and for that, we're going to look at gas. Okay, so this cost of gas is not necessarily cost per gallon, right? Basically, we're charging some sort of cost of gas per mile traveled. Okay, so it's a simple formula here. You can see it's G33 times G34 plus 10, right? So this is $10 for parking. It's taking your miles traveled multiplied by the cost of gas. Okay, so let's take a look. I think I already set up a couple of scenarios here. So under data, what if analysis, let's do scenario manager. Okay, so you can see I create a couple scenarios here. Ready? So I have gas up, scenario down, and scenario up again. Okay, so let's look at this gas up scenario. and you can edit it. And so changing G34, what is G34? That's G, that's 34. So I'm going to try to play around with different values of gas, right? I think they're calling it gas tax here, but it doesn't matter, whatever, right? So I can change the value of the gas, and then how does that change the overall picture of the total cost of gas here? So that's one scenario, and that's set to be $2.06, okay? Just so you can see, let's add a new scenario. Um, Gas down again. And we're going to be changing G34 again. And let's set the value to be 167. Okay. So now you see I have four of scenarios. These other scenarios are just different prices for the gas. All right. So now what do we get by having all these scenarios? Well, we're not going to go through it one by one. We kind of want to see all of them side by side to see what happens to this. So I'm going to do a show summary like this. And what do you get? You're going to have all of the different values, right? Based on the scenarios. You can see the scenario names across the top, and then you can see all the different values for the gas based on the scenario. And then you can see the results that came up through here. Okay. So what does this really do for you? So this would be something like where you're showing sensitivity analysis to gas, the cost of gas. Okay. Like I said, I don't really think this is cost of gas per gallon per se. It's more like a gas tax or something like that. So, but it really doesn't matter. Just look at it as some sort of cost for gas per mile traveled. Okay. And like I said, that's not even really the important part. The important part is you're doing some sort of sensitivity analysis by doing these what if analysis um, and looking at what happens to this final value here based on changes in the price of gas, either going up or down. Okay. So this is what if analysis does for you, right? And then you had goal seeking. Okay. So I'm gonna stop the share here. Okay. So now, when you look at what we covered for this lecture today, um, number one, I covered a few things that you're going to make sure you get down because you're going to need it for the Excel assignment that came out today. We covered conditional formatting. Okay. We also covered VLOOKUPs. We covered tables. Uh, we covered named ranges. We covered scenario analysis, doing what if, as well as goal seeker. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm gonna wrap up for this lecture here. I'm wishing everybody good luck on the exam. I should see you on Wednesday, but if not, good luck on the exam. And before the exam, if there's any questions about JavaScript, you can send me an email and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Thank you.